Welcome back to the Sports Mag Zone. The use of the video assistant referee, VAR, was expected to remove clear and obvious errors from the beautiful game, thus limiting controversy. But 5 years after the technology was first used, the opposite seems to be happening, as football games are still bedeviled by the same issues which caused controversy in the pre-VAR period. Round 18 in the English Premier League saw referees refusing to show red cards for tackles in a manner inconsistent with decisions made earlier in this season. In the clash between Leeds and Arsenal at Elland Road, Gunners midfielder Granit Xhaka escaped sanction for this challenge.
The free kick's been given. He can afford to walk away with Arsenal being 3-0 ahead. Rafinha's down. Suggested it was a strong challenge by Xhaka. He's got to walk steadily now. Xhaka, let's have a look at this. Rafinha comes inside. Oh, he catches him on the ankle.
That is not a good challenge.
No, it isn't. He's not the best tackler. He needs to be careful.
Would you say it?
Earlier in the season, in round 2 to be precise, Leicester City's Jose Perez wasn't so lucky.
I'll check on this. Clumsy. It's clumsy from Jose Perez again. Certainly catches Fornals right on his ankle watch just there. Oof, wow. Wow, I tell you what. From that angle, that's a dangerous challenge, a very dangerous challenge. Now, has he really stumbled into that with his head down on the floor? Does he absolutely know where he's planting his foot? Well, only he would know, Mark.
Neither was Paul Pogba against Liverpool for Manchester United in round 9.
Quickly taken corner. He's come up with the ball, but he left the stud in, and his name is taken. And this is worthy of a second check as well.
Yeah, it never goes down well. When it's straight in front of you like that, if you extend, and he's high, you know, he's a little high on Keita.
If this yellow turns red, this scenario turns ugly. Top foot's over the ball. Fear for Pogba, fear for Manchester United. Sent on to try and salvage something at half-time. Paul Pogba will walk. Yellow won't do. Only red suffices.
Anthony Taylor substituting yellow for red. Now, Spurs and England, the captain Harry Kane escaped a red card for this tackle against Liverpool's Andy Robertson on Sunday. It was a studs-up challenge. Referee Paul Tierney showing Kane a yellow. Meanwhile, the former Premier League referee's boss, Keith Hackett, reacted to that decision with this tweet. How can Harry Kane stay on the pitch after that reckless challenge that endangered the safety of an opponent? Excessive force, serious foul play, challenge, red card, another refereeing error. The Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp later suggested a VAR may have been on a break.
The game would have been completely different with 2 key decisions in the first half. So let's start with Robbo. We saw it now back, and yes, you can give a red card there. It's not the harshest ever, but it's not the smartest as well. So he knows that, and he's a really good boy, but he lost it a little bit, and so this red card you can give. But this is the proof that the VAR was there today, because before that we thought he might not be in his office, because the two other situations. I think we agree now all that Harry Kane should have seen a red card. So, and he didn't.
That's Jurgen Klopp. So, Lance, I'm asking you, what do you think is accounting for the inconsistencies with VAR? You were a huge supporter when it first came in.
Yeah, well, to be quite honest, it does appear that behind the scenes some things are happening, because a lot of the contention now that we are seeing hadn't been evident earlier on in the season. And it does appear, as you know, sometimes referees as a body, I think Mike Riley is the referee's chief at the moment, they decide as a group how they will apply certain things. And it does appear to me to be a bit of a shift at the moment in their application of some of the application of VAR, as opposed to what we had seen earlier on in the season. Because to be quite honest, VAR is there to correct clear and obvious errors. And I don't think that's too difficult to do. But in recent weeks, we have seen some clear and obvious errors not even being tackled by VAR. So I'm not sure what the problem is. It does appear as if there are some behind-the-scenes meetings to address how they will treat some of these things. And the adjustment, to me, is making things worse.
Yeah, but you see, I've long had the problem where a player goes in hard on a player who evades the challenge. The player making the challenge is red carded for the intent. All right, I can accept that. But I can only accept that if a player who goes in hard on a player or a player who tackles a player and catches them in a manner that can cause serious harm is not given a red card, because I think that more than the intent to catch you, but you evade the challenge, that more, when you make a contact in the wrong way, it's more of a red card than a yellow card. And I say that going back to an example I've drawn for several times on this program in the past, of Cristiano Ronaldo for Manchester United against Man City in his first stint at Old Trafford, going in for a tackle at Main Road, as it was then, and, well, the City of Manchester Stadium to be precise, it was then, Main Road, the City of Manchester Stadium, now Etihad. Going into a challenge, the player, he lunges at the ball. The player evades the lunge, so he doesn't catch the player any at all. Steve Bennett sends him off with a red card because he's saying your intent was reckless. I can understand that, but I'm saying, if we run Granit Xhaka's tackle once again, the tackle on Rafinha, where Rafinha gets all of the studs on Granit Xhaka's left foot, how is that not a red card? And how is the Ayoze Perez stumbling into a challenge? It was ugly, to be fair. Ayoze Perez's challenge was ugly. I think that was a red. Look at this. Why is this not a red card? Why is that not a red card?
But that has to be a red card.
Yeah, but VAR doesn't help the referee to say, you should come and look at this again because you have missed it. That is a red card tackle.
But that's what VAR is supposed to do, George, which is why I'm startled as to why VAR is being applied in the way that it is. Because earlier on this season, there were much fewer of these discrepancies, I thought. But
I'm saying, if you look at if we get the Ayoze Perez challenge again, I'm agreeing with you there. If we get the Ayoze Perez challenge again, this was a player off balance, head down, running in to challenge for the ball as he has a right. Every footballer on the pitch, once the game is in play, has a right to challenge for every ball. You stumble into a challenge and look at this. Off balance, clearly, and he stretches and he catches the West Ham man in a very ugly manner. That was Pablo Fornals. That's ugly. If you give a red for that, I'm agreeing with it. But if you gave him a yellow, I would say, all right, he got away with one because he wasn't intentionally trying to hurt him. The problem with VAR, Lance, is the human element. Maybe it is that some system, some software needs to be created where things like that happen and there is a machine that tells the referee, well, that's a red card challenge.
But that's exactly what people don't want, George. People want the human part of the game.
Lance, the point is humans are interpreting similar incidents in different ways. That's why we're here having this discussion. Because the human element behind all of those decisions that we've seen is a different set of circumstances that are used to evaluate what course of action is necessary in the particular circumstance. And that's the problem.
Yeah, you know what? I remember when VAR just started, one of the main complaints about VAR is that it was stopping the game too long and it was breaking up the flow of the game. And, it felt annoying as a spectator looking on. And while I accept that can be a little disconcerting, you're a fan and you're into a game and every minute VAR is intervening and so on. But you know what? I was tolerant then because I felt that VAR is trying to ensure that, clear and obvious errors don't go unpunished or unrecognized. So I was much more comfortable with that, with the delays and the VAR rechecking, than to see clear and obvious errors being ignored not only by the referee but by VAR. Listen, it doesn't make any sense.
Listen, there's a lot of nonsense spoken by some people about the interruption that VAR has on the game.
Yes.
I'm suggesting to you that in an era where, I've lived through a 1990s situation in the Brazilian top flight where they were an average 30 fouls per game. 30 fouls is a hell of a lot of fouls,
Yeah.
right? So I'm talking about game disrupted. The game is more disrupted for players feigning injury than anything else. So let nobody talk about free-flowing football games.
Yeah.
The fact is, VAR is failing significantly in this area, spotting situations like those and applying the appropriate sanction. Where VAR is also failing, Lance, an area that has not been explored so far is this. When I challenge you, or I square up to you, and I flick my wrist like this and I slap you on the cheek, and you collapse and hold your jaw and you roll, I'm saying if you send me off, the man who feigns injury and tries to embellish the situation to let me get sent off should also be given a yellow card as well. Should be booked for making too much of the situation because you want your opposing team to go down, man. You want a fellow professional sent off, and VAR never addresses those issues. That's the problem I have.
I agree with you, George. This is something I've been saying on the zone for years because it is spoiling the game. It is really, really spoiling the game, and that's what players do now as a general rule.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's unsporting, and from a sporting standpoint, it's criminal.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Keith Hackett, the man the man believes the issue rather of inconsistent refereeing is due to the lack of management of his successor as head of the professional referees body, Mike Riley. Hackett tweeted this. Alan Shearer, who was on commentary duties on the game in question, Liverpool Spurs. Alan Shearer, you are spot on with your views. Riley will never sort it. He needs to be fired, and these referees need leadership, direction, and accountability. Several referees are frankly not good enough. Look, Keith Hackett in his timeline, I don't know if you remember him, wasn't that good of a referee. Yeah, Mike Riley wasn't a good referee either. Yeah,
so, but they've headed the referees.
They've headed the referee's body.
Yes.
So let me just put that out there. What is true though, Keith Hackett speaks the truth when he says there are many referees who are not up to par. If you as a referee sitting at Stokely Park in the machine room with 16 computers at your disposal, and you can't tell the official standing in the game, look, you need to have a second look at that because that looks like a red card to me, or from here, based on the replays I've seen, you're not worth your salt. You are unintelligent. You are intellectually dunce if you can't look at something like that and see that a more appropriate sanction needs to be applied. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it gets worse when you look at like the Hurricane challenge on Robertson on the weekend, and VAR doesn't even intervene.
Yeah.
That was a red card.
Shocking.
There's no question in my mind that was a red
card all day.
Yeah, and in the reviews and the analysis, I heard people saying that maybe because it was kind of low it wasn't that high. It was reckless. If Robertson didn't lift his leg up,
problems.
He would have probably had a fractured fibula.
Tibia.
Yeah, he would have had a fracture. If his leg was grounded and didn't move, it would have been a fractured bone for him.
Hurricane ought to have been red carded, and for Robertson's tackle that got him sent off, he deserved that red card.
No
there
issues.
you go. We take a break.
So Klopp was justifiably upset at the end.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.